guys, it's Catherine from CatherinePooler.com. Last week I shared this amazing product with you. It's called Brusho. The awesome people at Colorcraft sent me this amazing box of color. Look at that. Totally awesome. I've been having fun playing with these. My video last week showed you several different ways to use them, and today we are going to use them to color in some flowers in a quick and easy way. And actually at the end of this video I ended up with 3 cards. Didn't mean to do that, but sometimes that happens. So if you're ready, let's get inky with Brusho. I'll be using the Hibiscus stamp set by Waffleflower on this card, and the first thing we're going to do is stamp a background. So I have some watercolor paper. This is the size of a card front. I probably will cut this down when I'm ready to put the card together, but I'm going to go ahead and make it full on to start out with. So I removed the static from my paper using that deactivator tool, and then I'm going to use my Versamark ink pad to randomly stamp the flowers and the leaves on the background. The trickiest part here is going to be placement because, you know, the Versamark is clear and you can't see it. I was practicing and playing around with this earlier, and I stamped images on top of each other because I couldn't really see them. If you have trouble seeing the images, you can also just add your embossing powder as you go. I'm not going to heat it yet, but adding the embossing powder really helps you be able to see the images. So, oh yeah, that's much better, much better. As I fill in, I'm changing the orientation of my stamps so that they look random. I don't want them all going the same way. I'm forgetting to use this little one. I'll add the embossing powder on the rest of my layer, and then I will heat it. Now I let my heat tool heat up for a minute to get pretty hot so that when it hits this cardstock and the embossing powder, it will emboss it more quickly than if you started with it cold. And the water is going to end up warping my paper some, so I didn't want to add extra warping with the heating because that also warps the paper as well. Now my embossing is finished, and I'm adding adhesive to the back here because I want this to kind of anchor down on my craft mat a little. I'm going to add a lot of water here, and this will help keep it flat a little bit. It'll still warp, but I'm going to take this water brush. This particular one is a koi water brush. I also have a Ranger water brush, and I have water brushes by Stampin' Up. I think they're all fairly similar. My Stampin' Up ones I've had the longest, and if you leave the cap off, or even if you don't, sometimes after a while they clog and then I can't use them anymore because they're clogged up. I have not had the Koi or the Ranger long enough to figure that out yet, see if they do that as well. If you have Ranger, Koi, or any other brand, leave me a comment below and let me know if you have found them to end up clogging or not. I would love to know because, like I said, I just haven't had these long enough to figure that out yet. So I'm just wetting the flower all inside of the embossed lines. I'm doing all the big flowers first. All right, so now I'm going to grab the Brusho. You guys have seen me use Color Burst and Bister powders. The lid is really soft, and you can just poke like a needle or a paper piercing tool straight through the lid, and then you can tap it or shake it and get the color out right on your project. The Color Bursts are a little different. They have like a little bottle with a nozzle. You may have seen me use those before. And then the Bister powders are very similar to these, except the colors are very earth toned. The Brusho powders, oh my gosh, there's a ton of color. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you head over to my blog because I'll have more information on the Brusho. All right, so this is looking pretty cool. I'm just gonna let it sit and dry. I'm gonna add a little bit more water here. You can keep the speckled look if you want. I want it to be a little bit more colored, kind of watercolory, and maybe not quite so speckled, even though I do think that looks really cool. These powders are so pigmented. So now these are dry, and I took a little paper towel and I kind of dabbed to get any excess powder off. And if you see any extra, you can either take like a paintbrush or a little napkin and just kind of brush away the extra. Now, my idea was to keep all the color inside the embossed area, and that did not work out too well with this, but I'm not really going to worry about it. So I'm just wetting each leaf completely. Now all the leaves are colored, and I'm just going to add in this emerald green. So it's got some blue and some yellow in there, and then when they react with the water and mix together, guess what color? Green. Oh, that's looking pretty cool right there. And then sometimes if I see I have a lot of powder and a lot of pigment, I may add just a little bit more water to it. Oh, that's looking really cool. Totally personal preference. Like I said, some of you have left me comments saying you like it when it's all kind of like spotty and dotted. Some of you like it more blended. But I always say this is art, it's subjective, and it's whatever makes you happy. Feel free to take any of the ideas and techniques and whatnot that I show you and tweak it to make it your own. When I look up in the camera, it looks a lot different. It's very dark. I think it's too dark for what I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna take a little piece of paper towel and I'm gonna soak up some of the pigment from some of the leaves to lighten them up a little. They just got too dark. So I lightened some of these leaves up, and then I wanted to show you, this one is still really dark, so I wanted to show you if you add a little more water and then just take your napkin, and you can either just kind of dip it or dab it, or you can just put it right straight down on your project and pull up the color. It looks really cool, and it will lighten it up for you. Now I'll do the little flowers. I posted on Instagram. Now if you don't follow me over there, you can find me at Catherine Pooler. And I did a little snapshot of this. I asked what color these flowers should be, red or orange. And it looks like orange is the winning color. I don't know how to pronounce that. I've never heard of that color before. Maybe you have, but it's orange. So we'll just shake this on. Now when you're not using these, you can put a little piece of washi tape or painter's tape over the hole if you want to. This one doesn't maybe quite have enough water there, so we'll just add a little more so those colors can move. And we'll let this dry, and then, I don't have plans for the rest of the card yet, so I'm gonna have to think about it. All right, my friends, I did some stamping without you. I apologize, but then again, I don't apologize because I had some struggles, and if I kept it all in, it would have been a really long video. So what I did here was when I finished this first piece, what I was doing at first was just brushing off the extra powder, the Brusho powder, and sometimes I was getting like streaks and stuff. And so then I realized if I just blow it, then the powder will blow off and I won't mess up my project. So the stamping, like the balance of all of my elements was kind of off, so I decided to make a shaker card with the spot that I liked the best. And then I realized that I kind of was covering up most of what I did here, so I wasn't loving this, although I do like how the card came out altogether. I think it's pretty cute, but you know, it wasn't originally what I had planned, and I covered up a lot of the little orange flowers, which is a bummer. So I kept stamping, and this is the next one I did. I tried just doing, you know, some down in the bottom, more clustered about, and just a little bit toward the top. And I really liked how this came out. And also, again, another thing I didn't like about this was I got too much outside of the lines. So I just took a little bit more time and just worked a little bit more diligently, and I got most of the Brusho color inside the lines, yay me. And then again, I just kept on and I made another one. So I have 3 different layouts, same pretty basic concept of stamping with white embossing powder and coloring in with the Brusho. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you're inspired in some way by these cards. Thanks for being here. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again soon.